Good morning, everybody. Just want to show a little project, in fact, a major project that we have been working on for the better part of a year. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you've got a lot of this do-it-yourself stuff. If you can hear in the background, that's the tractor warming up. We have been working on a project. I'm kind of just giving you a little bit of a backup or a prelude to what we've been dealing with. When we first built this place, we knew we were going to have some drainage stuff, and when they put in our garage, they forgot to put in the French drain. Okay, we flooded out on Christmas Day 2015. It was horrible. Thousands of gallons of water in that garage. Okay, under construction, everything was a mess. I mean, it was pretty nightmarish. Then they came in and they installed the French drain. French drain that they had used was the black corrugated pipe with holes in it. They installed it correctly and everything. They had dug away the dirt that was up against the wall there, put the French drain in, covered it with felt paper, roofing felt paper. They told us that that was the best way to do it, and that it would be fine. Okay, then they covered it back up. Well, about 2 years ago, we kind of felt like the drain wasn't working great. It was still working and we hadn't flooded, but we had got to a point where things got close to flooding. We had a little bit of seepage. I mean, we had some exceptional rains here. 13 inches, 14 inches in a month. I mean, really horrific issues. And because we have kind of a hill up there, we have all of this, water table, if you will, that can rise up in the hill. Plus we had the hill that kind of like almost abutted up to the garage. So we made some probably just like design mistakes when we ended up placing things and doing things the way that we did them. Well, you can't change it now. The house is built, everything's done. The only thing that we can try and do is mitigate. So what we're doing now is, part of the reason why we have the tractor was because about 2 years ago, we realized that we needed to do something and we just could not do things with a rake, a hoe, and a shovel. It just wasn't going to do it. In Florida, you could almost get away with doing some fairly significant dirt work with just those 3 tools because the sand is very soily. Here, it's not. It's got sand in it, but you can get down to stuff that is just wicked hard clay, and I'll show you what I mean. So we were deciding that we needed to do something with the drainage. We decided that we were going to make a purchase for a tractor, but by then it was kind of like already into the winter. We didn't do it. Last year we needed to buy it earlier than we did, but there were things that had happened in our life, a lot of distractions, a lot of things that had happened, and we didn't. We ended up making the purchase in October of 2019. And when we got it, my husband he removed probably the majority of the dirt that was back there. We flooded earlier this year, but it was minor, a very minor flood than we would normally have had. So we knew that we were on the right track, but we couldn't really do anything. Once, I think it was, we lucked out. We were able to work through to November, or most of November, and even into December a little bit before it just gets really rainy. Because here on the Cumberland Plateau, I mean, we're like in the fog, okay? It rains. It's like the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if this is normal. We've only been here for 5 years, but I'm here to tell you, it seems like it rains all the time here. It's kind of actually frustrating and a little bit depressing and disgusting. But at any rate, we couldn't really get back to it until closer to mid-spring because it was raining so much. It was just so muddy. So my husband's been back there. He's been working on it, but it's been much slower because it's tight, and he was trying to not damage some things. And then we finally got to the point where we ripped out the old corrugated pipe, and I'll show you what we've been doing here in a minute. Like I said, I'm just giving you the background. And we found that in about 3 places, the corrugated pipe had crushed and split. So just the weight of the dirt, wet dirt, it was literally causing the pipe to pop in on itself, or there was whatever underneath that would break it from the bottom side. So that's not going to work. So we have that ripped out. We had some rain the other day. Of course, everything's wet again. We need to actually dig the trench because you have the footer, right? You have the wall, and then you have the footer that kind of comes out, and then we're putting the new drain that's going to be lower, right? So it's not going to be on the footer, because that's what we had it before. It was like on the top of the footer. We want it lower, and we're going to dig a trench, and we're going to put fill gravel in, so that hopefully with the right angle, you know, 1 inch of descent for every 8 feet, so that when we put in, we're going to use PVC, not the corrugated black pipe that is common, okay? PVC that has like a poundage rating of like 3,500 pounds. We're going to put that in so that the drainage will work and it won't get crushed. And hopefully this will be a fix that will last for many, many, many years. We're not going to have to redo this because this is a lot of hard work. All right, so let me show you where we're at. This is the area that we're working on. And I just want to show you first here the dirt, okay? So you can kind of see how it's all wet and everything. And it's pretty muddy. It's very much like clay. And then you'll find other areas over here where it's muddy, but it's got like particulate in it. It's almost sandy when it dries out a little bit. And then we have this stuff. Not as often that you see it, sorry about the noise, but this is the stuff that's really bad. Walk away from the engine. This blue clay, we have this in abundance around here, and this is the stuff that they use to actually make like dinnerware. This is like pottery clay. It's basically like impervious. Water won't go through it. It's like a hard pan, if you will. That's just a little bit of it, but we had another little section over there by the tractor. But it's really common to see that around here. We're going to be from here where all this work is happening down this way is where all the water will eventually flow. We're going to end up actually having the black corrugated pipe that really isn't going to be buried. It's going to be, whoopsie, sorry, can't see it very well. It's going to be contained in a pipe, and it's just going to go all the way down to the end of the property. And there's like a little ravine down there where the water will be carried away. But this is all stuff that was from construction, and it kind of blocked it off, but it actually made a workaround. So, you know, it's doable. But again, just lots and lots of work. Side. See the tractor coming here in view in a minute. And this is what we're trying to do, is dig a hole or dig a trench, but it's so deep still that we have to go. We were originally thinking, oh, we're going to try and get this by hand, but with the, I don't know, with the weight of the soil, we need a helping hand. And hello, we have hydraulics, so let's take advantage of that, right? So he's trying to get us mostly down to the depth that we need to be at so that we can basically do the finer work by hand. But this is the hill, and we'll end up having to address that ultimately. But first things first is getting the hole dug. He's just trying to get the dirt off to the side. He'll eventually use his bucket and remove that. But we've had some rain, like I said, and we need to make sure that we end up getting this drain in place so that it can start functioning before we end up having additional problems. So I'm not sure how long this is, but this was actually kind of a drop off. See how it drops off? This started to drop off here. So he's been dumping dirt here that will ultimately kind of widen out. We'll flatten the whole thing out. These trees are going to eventually come down. We'll cut them down for firewood. But this is all going to be flattened out, and this is just going to be a bigger, wider area in general. But this was all the dirt that was back behind that wall back there where we've been removing stuff. It's a pretty tall hill. I don't remember how many feet. We kind of had it like a little mini road that you could drive back there, but we really didn't drive back there. We will make it a road. Actually, we're eventually gonna get it widened out and put gravel down and make it so that the area is passable, that if we had to take one of our Jeeps or the tractor back there, the tractor can go back and forth now as it is. But he dumped all of this dirt. This is a ton of dirt, and we still have more to remove. So this is another thing, when you're doing some of these like major drainage projects or you're having to dig stuff, you've got to find a place for your dirt. You are going to have a ton of it, and if you don't have, you know, a designated area that it's going to be out of the way, and you know, maybe you can use it for future projects, and you can figure out that you need to have whatever happen. I can't even get up. I'm not going to get up on it because I know I'm going to sink. But I mean, this is a lot of dirt, and like I said, we will end up having probably at least half of this pile more that will end up having to be dumped. I don't know if we'll be able to use this, if he's going to end up taking this and flattening it out and being able to dump more, or what exactly, but we're starting to feel the crunch of how do we manage the dirt, because we're getting a little bit full.